Hey everyone. So I understand that, by virtue of YouTube being what it is, I probably have a lot of kids out there that watch the channel. Not like kids, but like high school age kids, middle school age kids, whatever. And I also understand that school is going to be back either this week or next week or soon, depending on where you live, right? And as somebody who's gone through school, I feel like I'm somewhat of an expert on surviving because, not to brag or anything, but anyone who was in high school with me knows I was pretty popular. I was known by just about everybody. And, and not that that's important, but it just helps to get through school. That way you don't stress about too many things. But that's not the point. Point is, I'm going to just give you a couple of tips to getting through school. I am assuming that you're in high school because that's the freshest in my memory, and it's going to be the thing that I focus on the most because these 4 years, while they're not the best years of your life or the most important years of your life, they are still very important in helping you figure out where you're supposed to go with the rest of your life. So, just a couple quick tips, all right? Okay, so starting with the academic stuff. Just do your work, do your assignments, do your homework, get it turned in on time. Don't be like me and be like, oh, well, you know what? I can let my grade fall down to an F and bring it back up by the end of the quarter to an A. I did that, and I was successful in doing that, but it's just a waste of time because it gets to the last couple of weeks before the quarter is over. You have to crunch, and some teachers don't even let you turn in work late, so just do the work when you get it. I know when you get home, you want to play your PC or your PlayStation, or you want to do this or do that. Just do your work first. It's not the end of the world. Your friends will still be there to go over to their house or whatever. You can still go to practice. You can do whatever you need to do. Just make sure that you get your work done in a timely manner, and just keep that same attitude your entire ride through high school, and you'll be okay. Now, that's not to say that some teachers aren't assholes, because I remember I had a teacher that it was just her mission to fail me. I did all my work. I did the best I could. I did everything I was supposed to do, and she failed me for the entire year. So sometimes there's nothing you can do, but the best thing for you to do is just do what you're supposed to do. Don't let other people and their missions, their agendas, their goals affect you and what you need to do. You're there for a very specific reason. Also, don't let these back to school commercials trick you. You don't need to stock up on school supplies. You don't need all this fancy garbage. You just need this, right? This pencil, all you're going to need, because you don't need a notebook, because they're going to be giving you a laptop and you're going to be able to take your notes on that, or at least you're probably getting a laptop. It's the 2019-20 school year, so I assume that you'll be getting a computer at some point early in the year. So you don't need a notebook. You don't really need paper. Maybe I can't find my notebook that I use for my timeline videos, but maybe just one notebook can probably last you the entire school year. And also, if your teacher has supplies that are available for the class to use, try not to just burn them, because a lot of times teachers have to pay out of pocket for the stuff that they use for their classes, which is very scummy and it sucks, and teachers are underpaid. But at the same time, there's nothing you can do about how much teachers get paid. All you can do is try to make their lives a little easier. And on the topic of teachers, be nice to them. Even if you do have a dickhead teacher, be nice to them. Some of them are just trying to do their job. Some of them really care about their job and want you to have a good experience in class. I've had teachers that fit both of those categories, and I've had teachers that honestly do not care. But because they don't care doesn't mean you shouldn't care. So just take school very seriously, get through it, make life as easy as possible in each class with your teachers and all that stuff. And now that the academics is out of the way, we can move on to the social aspect. Now, I made some very good friends in high school. A lot of them I've known for multiple years. I still talk to them even though we've been out of high school for coming up on 2 years now. Some of the friendships that you'll make in high school are very lasting, very important. Some of those guys will be your friends, or girls will be your friends for the rest of your life if you choose to keep that communication up after high school. But not everybody that you talk to is going to matter in a year, so Don't worry too much about people's opinions of you. Don't worry too much about having the hugest circle of friends. As I said, I was popular, but I didn't have a whole lot of friends. People just knew my name, knew my face. They knew what I showed them. So I was popular by virtue of just being well known across the school. But you don't have to worry about doing that unless you just want to avoid bullying. And on the topic of bullying, don't be an asshole. Don't bully people for any reason. I don't care if they don't have the nicest shoes, because I don't have the nicest shoes. I buy the shoes I can afford. I buy the clothes I can afford. I buy the hats I can afford. And a lot of times, these kids don't have jobs yet. They don't have their own money. Their parents don't have a whole lot of money to spare on the fanciest backpacks and Yeezys and Supreme clothing. So just don't give somebody shit for what they do or don't own, because that's the scummiest thing a person can do. And it honestly just makes me very angry, because I've seen it, I've experienced it. It's just so pointless. We're literally all the same. It doesn't matter. So apart from that, if you want to do extracurricular activities, like if you want to join JROTC and do drill team or marching band or choir or orchestra, football, cheerleading, any of that stuff, go for it. But if you're doing that and you do have a job, try not to let these things become like too important to you. You know, the most important thing in these 4 years is school. So if you have to quit your job until the summer so that you can pass your classes, do that. If you have to quit the team until you can pass your classes, do that. Don't let anything outside of school become so important to you that you can't get that done. I know that's still on the topic of academics, but joining an extracurricular activity like I did, I had like 4 or 5 of them when I was in high school, they just help you get through it easier, because that's when you know you're surrounded by people that have the same interests as you, or at least one of the same interests, and you can form a different bond with them than you can with some of the other people. Also, when you're in high school, there's a lot of different types of people. You know, there's the very outgoing type of person like I was. There's whatever, I'm not going to get into all of that. But there's always going to be somebody that's quiet. Somebody that just doesn't talk a whole lot. They keep to themselves pretty much all the time. Please do not take it upon yourself to assume that that person is inherently antisocial and needs you to go up and talk to them. If they're sitting up and drawing, don't walk up to them and ask them a bunch of questions about what they're drawing or why they draw. Just be like, hey, that's a cool drawing, and move on. You don't need to bring up the fact that they're not talking to get them to talk to you, because chances are they don't think you're that special. So that person is going to be okay. If they decide to come out of their shell and start talking to people, great. Or even if you do want to go talk to that person, please don't overwhelm them. They may have social anxiety. They may just not feel like talking at that time, whatever. Do not be a hero. And by the same token, if there's a new student that shows up at some point throughout the year, please do go up to that person and talk to them. They will. It's important to make somebody feel welcome. As somebody that transferred to about 7 different schools while I was going from 1st to 12th grade, I understand that it's very important to be surrounded by people that make you feel welcome when you're in a new setting, because I went through that a lot. And nobody really did that for me, but I did that for every new student I ever came across when I was in high school, and it always worked out. And I would say that the most important tip I can give you about high school, don't give up. Because when I was a sophomore and I had that teacher that was on a mission to fail me, I pretty much gave up. And my GPA suffered greatly because of it. So I don't think that anybody out there should get lethargic like that. Don't just be like, you know what, I'm destined to fail, so I don't care anymore. That's going to be really rough on you, because I was stellar my freshman, junior, and senior years, but that sophomore year really messed me up. And again, when you become a senior, if you're going into senior year right now, don't get senioritis the way that I did. I didn't go to school on Fridays when I was a senior. I went to school maybe 1 Friday a month. I also had a shortened schedule because I had all my credits, so I only had 3 classes in the day. I always missed the first one. I was never at school on time. School started at 7:20 for me. I would be getting there at around 8:30. That's how I prioritize getting to school, especially second semester. Sometimes I just wouldn't go to school the whole week, and I would just get everything done when I showed up, and I still passed everything with flying colors then. But again, don't make life any harder than it has to be. School is not the end of the world. You're gonna be okay, and maybe when you grow up, you'll be like me and have a 2,000 subscriber YouTube channel. But yeah, kids, stay in school. Remember, hugs, not drugs.